The two areas that I will be reflecting on are the areas of ministry and prayer. I'm going to start with ministry. After ordination, my prayer to God was that He show me where I needed to be with regards to ministry. Do I continue in the ministries that I had become involved in while in formation, or was there something else? These ministries included youth ministry, RCIA, visiting the sick, visiting local nursing homes, volunteering at a local homeless shelter, and prison ministry. You may remember that in 2011, I retired from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And since that time, I had been working part-time at a local county jail, working 10 to 15 hours a week. I told my supervisor at the jail that after my ordination, I was going on a trip and would be gone for about a month or over a month. And when I got back, I wanted to devote more time to diaconal service, so I would be resigning from my part-time job. My supervisor asked that I not resign, but that I stay on an on-call status and work when I could. And I said that I would give that a try. Ordination was June 1st, and on June 3rd, I went on my month-long trip. The first 2 weeks were spent in California, where my wife and I visited my mother-in-law. My father-in-law had died 6 months prior, and we were there to help her go through his things. The 2 weeks were spent cleaning out storage sheds, closets, boxing up items, taking things to the thrift store, and having a garage sale to clear out the rest of his possessions. I also took care of some projects around the house and yard that my father-in-law would have normally taken care of if he were alive. The next 2 weeks were spent on a mission trip to Chimbote, Peru. I went with a group from my home parish to a mission started by Jack Davis, a Catholic priest, more than 30 years ago. During those 2 weeks, I lived a very humble life amongst the poor of Chimbote. Our group helped to serve food and deliver beds to the needy. They were all needy. We also helped build and repair 5 small homes which were made of estera, which is a kind of woven reed mat. The people lived on dirt floors, and there was no plumbing or electricity in their homes. The people I met were very poor, but they seemed genuinely happy and were very involved in the church and very involved in the Mass. I had the great honor of serving as deacon during Mass, and there was Mass every day at Chimbote. I was struck by the people's generosity when it came time for the collection. I saw old men and old women come up to the altar and drop their few coins into the basket with a complete look of joy on their faces. I had gotten to know some of these parishioners and saw how they live and knew that that money they placed into the basket was money that they needed. This trip to Chimbote was the first time I had actually lived in and amongst the poorest of the poor, and it had a profound effect on me and the way I look at things now that I'm home. In July, I returned home to Gulf Breeze and continued my ministries, volunteering more of my time since formation was now over and I no longer had a set schedule for work. One day in September, my wife came home from work and she said she had been on the diocesan website and saw a posting for a position called Coordinator of Advocacy and Justice. She said when she read the position description, she thought it sounded like me. I was intrigued with the position, but the posting was dated June, and here we were in September, so I figured the position had been filled. A day or two later, I called a friend of mine at the pastoral center to ask about the position. I've known this person for many years, and she's known me, and she's a fellow parishioner at St. Anne's. She said the position hadn't been filled and that I should apply. She's familiar with my background with the Bureau of Prisons and knew about the things that I was involved with at the church and said that I should apply for the position. Anyway, I next spoke with my pastor about me applying for the position. and I was concerned that a full-time job would take me away from my diaconal duties at the parish. My pastor was very understanding and told me not to worry about it, and if I applied, he would be supportive. A few days later, I applied for the position, and a few days after that, I was hired. As the coordinator of advocacy and justice, I'm responsible for promoting and coordinating ministries and activities that support, defend, and advocate for the dignity of human life at all stages from natural conception to natural death. This involves advocating against abortion, the death penalty, euthanasia, assisted suicide, and embryonic stem cell research. It also involves knowing and promoting the U.S. Bishop's position on various issues like immigration reform, health care, marriage, living wage, and aid to the poor. At times it's very overwhelming, and I liken it to drinking from a fire hose, but I find the work very interesting and very challenging. With regards to ministry, I know I've been called to this full-time position of ministry, advocating for the marginalized and the most vulnerable. I know this is a calling because I had no intention of ever going back to work full-time, but here I am. I don't consider this work, I consider it a vocation. With regards to my prayer life, this new position that I just described has challenged my prayer life. As I mentioned earlier, I retired in 2011, midway through my third year of diaconate formation. I retired because it seemed like the right time and I wanted to devote more time towards my formation. By this third year of formation, we were praying the Liturgy of the Hours 5 times daily. When I retired, I found I could maintain a better prayer schedule since I had more free time. I kept busy in retirement with a part-time job and with ministries. However, the time was very flexible and I had control of it for the most part, so I could work my prayer into my day at set times, and it became a habit. With this new position, I've become very busy. My time is not as flexible as it used to be. I no longer have the control of the time that I thought I had. I try to have a set schedule to pray the office during the day, but it seems like something always interrupts that schedule. I've discussed this with my spiritual director, and I'm working on this, trying to become more disciplined in my prayer life. I know that without prayer to support me, I will not be successful at all in this new vocation.